I'll just start by kind of going over some of this stuff from the last week or so. Up above, all the way to the right, tomorrow. Oh, yeah, I'll bring you up. We've got a space. We do the Film 3 thing on Thursdays. So if you like the AI video stuff that I turn out or want to talk more in depth about script writing, we've got a guest on tomorrow from Block of Horror. That'll be pretty cool because I have only seen his YouTube material, so I have not necessarily spoken to him directly except through maybe the comments on there. I don't know if that counts exactly, but then next to that, I've got a preview of a video I'm going to release tomorrow that was for the Gen 48 competition. That's just a trailer, so the whole thing will be out properly tomorrow. I'll post it up here on Twitter too. Nice video. Had to rush it out. 48 hours is a pretty tight schedule, I would say. What up, Neil? Fall of Tartaria, almost complete with the audiobook. Have been getting that mixed, and Neil's heard it, in fact, as it turns out. So that's right around the corner. I intend to get that submitted tomorrow and hopefully approved before the end of this month is out. That was kind of my personal deadline for this. And I think it'll make it just under the wire. Usually they say like 10 to 14 days for approval, but I've had it happen in 7. So we'll see. It could happen. Last thing up there currently is Volume 3 of the National Parks manuscript is getting laid out into the paperback. Have been making some adjustments, not only to how I do the layout for those, but also working with simultaneously doing the book, the audiobook, and the videos that will accompany that collection is a lot of juggling. I'll be honest with you. We can handle it, but at the same time, it's kind of a big balancing act just to go between all those different processes kind of in tandem between working with the editorial, working with the still photography, working with the audio reads, which I have been doing kind of along the way as those chapters have been getting completed for the last I guess maybe 4 or 5 months now. I've been doing those readings, so I'm almost done with the audiobook production, though not necessarily the editing is not complete and finished yet. And then getting that over to the timeline for video, just kind of being able to pace things out with the test runs of the vocals, the voiceover for those videos, laying out the order and incorporating the video components that I do have available for that is kind of preparation for the music that I'll end up writing for it. Father D, you were in the writer's block yesterday. You're here now today. Welcome back. What's up? How have you been?
Hey, thank you. I've been doing good. So I don't know about any of your writings. Maybe if you could just go over what you're working on right now. That way I can kind of get up to speed on it.
Oh,
but
well,
I'll be a fly on the wall because I'm babysitting,
yeah.
So I won't take too much mic time.
Oh, it's all good.
Okay.
That was kind of the stuff I was going over to begin with. So I've got, I don't know, I guess like half a dozen audiobook, ebook, paperback releases out. The first one was on the Chicago Columbian Exposition of 1893. And then I turned that into a documentary, which is up on Amazon Prime. The next project that I started with writing and that turned into books was the Exploring Our National Parks series. So there are 2 volumes of that out, as well as the videos and the music. Working on volume 3 right now. I've got a couple of like content development, marketing, personal branding, business branding books out as well. And then in the last couple of years, I would say the last 2 years, I've been beginning to explore fiction. So writing fictional short stories. I'm not skilled enough to do an entire book yet. So kind of building my catalog of stuff across that collection. If there's any questions about specific ones or process or anything like that, we can dive into it.
So I'm going through the editing phase, my first draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been thinking a lot about audiobook myself. Obviously, I still have a lot of work to do. Yeah. But then I also, and I shouldn't be worrying myself about silly things this early, but I thought about pirating and like how easy it is to pirate audio. And I wasn't sure like how authors make that jump from saying, you know what, I'm just going to, it's worth it more to put it out than it is to hold it back. So how did you come about that?
Well, I mean, as somebody who is, releasing product, and I guess there's the potential interest to pirate it. There's obviously like plenty of pirated media out there, but I think that you kind of do yourself a disservice with the apprehension, right? In the sense that like many people are not going to do the extra legwork, both of like searching out and acquiring pirated media. Those people that do also, they're not necessarily excluding themselves from the purchasing component either. Like they might just want to check something out and then they come back and get something else of yours or that exact thing. So I don't know. I wouldn't really sweat too much about that kind of thing. Most people that are going to participate in your releases are going to do so through the markets that you choose to release the material through. And I would say that like that's really the primary goal you should be focused on, and not necessarily too hung up on like piracy. If people really want something from you, like for free or for pay, like that's a good thing in general. Like they're emphatic about your release, and either enough of a positive or negative way to spend time or money or both on acquiring them.
Yeah, it makes sense. Definitely.
I am a like heavy advocate for audiobook releases though. I do think that, and this is coming from somebody who has like a lot of pictorial content in 3 of my books, and soon to be the 4th. I put out audiobooks for that stuff too. People can get that through their library or Audible or whatever. If that guides them towards the documentary or other video collections, or getting that paperback afterwards, then like it all kind of comes around back on itself too. And then the other side of it is like, as you develop a catalog of material, then when you find new opportunities, you have those vehicles ready to deploy, and you can actively pursue those opportunities when they come up. I would say if you have worked with audio in any capacity in the past, then doing an audiobook is not going to be too much different for you there. For me, with the kind of photojournalistic stuff, I just do straight reads of that. But the fiction material, I do a narration only, and then I'll do kind of an audio drama production with music and sound effects and stuff like that, just to kind of build it out, add some layering, soundscaping to the experience. These are kind of bonus enhancements or things that you can't necessarily do on the page, and maybe you convey them on the page, but they don't come across the same way as what you imagine, or what you want the reader or listener to experience. What's up, Julianne? I see you hanging out. Yeah, again, if you guys want to come up and chat, you're more than welcome. This is not meant to be just me promoting my stuff. If you have things that you want to ask questions about, you can drop them in the comments. Or if you want to just promote the stuff that you have, Ricky's got a bunch of books. I finally found your Amazon listing. Neil's coming up. We'll have him up. Hi, Neil. What's going on? How have you been? What are you doing? He might be just connecting. Oh, there he is. Now he's there. How is it?
I'm here.
What's going on?
Oh, nothing. I've got a hour and a half drive in front of me.
Oof. Where to where from?
From Northeast Ohio to Northwest Ohio.
Nice.
Yes.
Classic drive.
Yeah. Not really. Pretty boring.
I've done it a lot.
You seem to be pretty structured in terms of you planning things and, releasing things and working on things. Are you following any sort of kind of, prescription for that, or any model for that, or just kind of one that you've become flexible with as you've been working on this stuff?
So I would say it is one that I see happening in the established industry, of whatever media that is. And then it's also kind of what works for me. Like when I'm doing client stuff, their production schedule and their promotion schedule, just having done content and marketing and advertising for so long around promotions, like there's just X number of things that need to occur. Obviously, like the production side of stuff, getting books turned out, producing audiobooks and videos like we do. And then the promotional side of things, like the distribution and all that, and the promotion that goes after the fact. All that stuff kind of like works the way that it needs to, and also that I can operationally manage it. I would say that's the thing with like having all of the assets in place. Like as soon as you have all those things, then you can very quickly kind of like tweak stuff and get it ready. For example, the cover of Tartaria, I haven't done the audiobook cover, but I have all those assets. So it'll be very easy to produce the square oriented cover image for that.
What are some of maybe the big differences from a marketing perspective, from traditional to what you're trying to accomplish now? Are there big changes? Are there things you just can't do in one versus the other?
Yeah, for sure. So like I'm an individual, and my need to generate leads, right, is very like direct. Like you either know me or know the material and you want it and you're going to get it. There's not a whole lot of like, I'm not McDonald's or Coca-Cola. Like I'm not retaining market share. I'm earning an opportunity with people that get a book or watch a movie, right? Where they have X number of like their budget is already allocated to like promotions and advertisement, content marketing in general, all kinds of different vehicles like that. I don't necessarily have the advertising budget that like huge corporations do. So like they can do a lot of advertising, whereas like my advertising is much more scaled back, I would say. But that doesn't mean that you can't do promotions and marketing in general, right? Like there's all kinds of ways to create interest around a project, and like having broad social presence, or making the media as widely available. Say like our videos, right? When we put out our videos, to me, because like this is like gourmet tofu hot dog type of stuff, like I want to make sure like I'm on every single street corner with it, because like it's very tough to get somebody to cross the street. So that's always my thinking on like, why do I want to put out the videos on entertainment and Rad and Escape and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and XYZ, because like you know, if if I were a huge personality or established name in that sense, like people will go to where you put it. But for now, I need to put it where they are.
How does that is I guess though the market share or maybe the distribution opportunities in terms of writing though? I mean, those are obviously different than video content.
It's very much the same.
Okay. I would like to think that there are some, small, nimble kind of mom and pop shops that would cater to, undiscovered creators or authors or whatever it may be.
There are, yeah, for sure. There's lots of channels out there like that. Obviously, Amazon, KDP, Kindle, Vella, Barnes and Noble allows you to distribute. Lulu allows you to distribute. Royal Road allows you to distribute, and you can integrate Patreon with that. Patreon itself, Gumroad, another one. So yeah, there's a lot of channels out there for distribution of editorial as well. Just depends on like what model you want to pursue.
Interesting. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, no sweat. And like that's the cool thing about something like Gumroad is you can put up anything there. You can put up audio, video, editorial. You can put up, I think, 3D models there, all kinds of stuff. Ricky, what are you doing?
Hey, what's up, Michael? Thank you for holding the space. Well, my short story collection came out recently.
Nice. Post it up.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Give me 1 second. I'll get the link. I've been doing a lot of editing. I'm juggling editing for Wargate. I might have an opportunity to put it up somewhere pretty cool.
Where are you putting it?
I'm back on Book of Draken, Volume 1. Writing, composing. I'm on chapter 80 or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, that was what I was writing before Wargate. Like when Wargate happened, it's because MJ was like, "You got to kill your darlings." You know what I'm saying? And because I can't sell Draken any old way. It's got to be pretty integral. It can't get like shifted around or like they can't be asking me for a lot of stuff. But now that I wrote Wargate 1 and I designed all these other Wargates, I got like 10 Wargate books I could write now. I drew a bunch of maps and stuff, and the whole series is pretty much outlined. I want to, at some point, do some podcasting with MJ about that. But yeah, dude, it's pretty cool because the Wargate 1 is done. I'm like getting towards halfway through with the edit of that. I edit very slowly, unfortunately. I have a lot of perceptual impairment, like neurodivergencies, so I really have to pay attention like when I'm combing through text. Otherwise I'm just going to miss it. So it's not something that could be like short tracked or whatever. But Wargate 1 is done, when Draconia is done, when Princes of Turmoil is done, when Cyberdonia is done, that'll be like 4 novels.
Yeah.
Each 100K. And I started Wargate 2. I'm like at 20K with that. So I'm just having a blast throwing down chapters, and like I'm enjoying, thanking God for the short story collection and stuff, because it's doing well,
Dude, you rip. You write so much.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to say, dude. I'm a creative obsessor. Like, I wouldn't know what to do if I didn't write. Like, I don't know what I would do with my day. Like, I work full time and I write, and I'm not bored. Like, that's kind of like my goal. I hate boredom, and it's like reading, writing, editing, working. It's like it sponges up all the hours, so it's great for me,
Yeah, that's dope. So when is okay? Yeah, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because you've got the 2 larger book projects that you're working on, Draken and then Wargate. And Draken has been ongoing. Wargate is kind of new. Are you going to put that stuff out on KDP, or are you looking for like a trad publisher?
Well, I've been talking with MJ. She's been helping me out big time. There's this opportunity I might have. I don't really know enough about it to articulate it so I'm not going to. But when I know about it enough to articulate it, I'll be glad to come back on your show, a subsequent episode, and open it up. But what it boils down to is like there's some site somewhere where she says the voice I'm writing would be perfect for said site.
Dope.
And it represents like a subgenre that I wasn't even really aware of. But it turns out that subgenre is pretty much what I write. Like it really is. Like I got a lot of books. I got Nidhogg Chronicles. The Masroth series is connected to the Draken series, but I got a Zaoth, I got Babbletron, I got all these different paradigms that I write in. But the stuff I mostly write in is this genre lit RPG. It's like RPG literature or literary RPG. Because my Draken and my Masroth stuff comes from this role-playing game that my business partner and I have been working on for quite some time. We're basically finished with it, but I'm looking for someone, because it's very expensive to produce one of these role-playing books.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to do it like willy-nilly with black and whites. And like, I'm not saying those aren't cool. Those are very nice too, but we want to give it the respect it's due with like a full spread layout, illustrations, cartography, proper formatting of the pages as far as like I'm not saying like a D&D or a Pathfinder book, but something on the up like that.
Yeah.
And we have the material to do it. But it's like I'm kind of doing this, trying to keep my partnership together, but it's also like to get my foot in the door to do the RPG, because the RPG is a big part of the dream, you know?
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'd like the multifaceted approach. I have not ever developed a game, but it's something that's on my mind in general, I would say. I just don't, nothing has landed for me quite yet, but you know, maybe in the future something will happen. It's definitely have explored the potential with like augmented reality, and like artificial intelligence stuff. I was doing a hackathon project late last year with some folks, and we were kind of bouncing that around for a little while, and it was kind of cool, you know. I'm not a great developer by any means, and I don't derive any joy from it. So it's something would be kind of a slog for me personally to do on my own. But if you have somebody to work with, that's probably the way to go.
It takes a lot of wielding scenario. Like you got to make up mythology. You got to have world building. Like you got to make a map. You got to make like a star chart. You got to make kind of like a placement in a galactic front. You got to have like gods or things that are regarded as gods, like something sacred that's like all fragmented. And I've been running RPGs since like 1998. You know, like there was hardly a year where I didn't have a gaming group. Sometimes I had 2-3 gaming groups. Like
deep in it.
Yeah, it's kind of my thing. The whole Afterninity thing is a pretty big game. And I have massive following. Like we were the mall geeks. We were playing in public parks. We were playing in flea markets, like in diners. Like we were crazy back in the day. It was like obsession. You know what I mean? So when you take that and you're just really good at taking notes and remembering stuff, it's like you get an RPG, you get novels, you can get all kinds of stuff out of that kind of networking of minds. You know?
Yeah, 100%. I'm just scanning through some stuff. Yeah, I feel like for that book, you know, getting all the assets together is the heavy lifting. Doing the layout, I feel like is evident, right? Once you have all those things, they can really only kind of go where they're supposed to go. Are you planning on using Amazon for that, or are you looking for some other way to produce those?
If you're referring to the RPG book, I'm not entirely sure. We got to figure out like the model of like design and get it all done. And I have a feeling it's probably going to be through like a company. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do all that. Besides money, it's like, I just don't know how to, like, it's like formatting a textbook. Like it's it's one thing to pay an editor to do a novel. A novel's pretty like, it's standard issue prose. It's like there's certain anomalies with the crap I write because it's all wordsmithing and wacko industrial terminology for things that don't exist. So, hey, what's up, Paulette? Good to see you. I got your book, by the way, Paulette. It's really nice. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we'll probably cross that bridge when we come to it, Michael. I really don't know what we're gonna do. It's like swimming through cement with the economy the way it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like years ago, I thought, oh, maybe we could figure it out with crowdfunding, but I've been at social media for years. I just don't have the exposure. My friends and I don't have the exposure. Like everyone I know together doesn't have the exposure to make one of those things happen. And it's not even as profitable as it used to be anyway. So I don't know. I don't really know what we're going to do, to be honest.
I feel like for that, there are conferences, for gaming, where they will trial games. Have you ever go to those?
Well, I went to a DexCon a couple years ago, like after the pandemic was simmering down. I went to this one in Jersey. It's one of the smaller ones, just to like get a gander around and take a look at stuff. And most people are playing D&D or Pathfinder, but there's a huge variety of indie games and stuff like that. So I don't really know. I mean, no one was playtesting new RPGs. Everyone was there because it's like they have the ability to do whole rooms with like multi-table campaigns. Like some of them are like, it used to be a lot more with sanctioned stuff where they're all like playing. It's like there's a master DM and there's a bunch of co-DMs and they all coordinate so that everybody's like playing this giant scenario, this epic thing. I found even at that small con, it was like more of that. Maybe if it was a bigger con like Gen Con or one of these larger ones, I don't know. I don't have enough experience to know for sure. I don't know if anybody else has been to one of those things, but
I mean, I've seen it. I have to imagine if you do a little bit of legwork and have a demo available, then there's some way of getting included into that.
Well, I remember there, now that I'm thinking about it, because I haven't thought of that experience in a while, there was this father-son developing group who made their own RPG. Basically, like, the dad was playing with his friends, like, back in the 70s or whatever, and then, like, he got married, and there was just a landslide of time and space that went over him. And then, like, his kids were going through his filing cabinets or something. They found his old homebrew, like his maps and all this cool stuff. And they were like, wow, Pop, this is pretty rad. And he's like, yeah, I know. So they came up with the idea of, let's pull our money and time together and just realize it. And I played in something like that. We're talking about a very small exposure. It was like two kids and like the ones who were running it and like myself, maybe in that capacity we could do something, but that's not going to break ground on anything either exposure or funding wise, Well, so I don't really know.
Yeah, for sure. It's not going to do the heavy lifting of exposure or funding, but what it does do is potentially it might be where it's a cottage industry sort of thing, and you have to generate compulsion, through taking it to the streets, for people to be aware of it and to want it, and that you might be selling the thing on demand, produced on demand, and getting it picked up. I know there's some kind of developmental scene around tabletop games, board games, and stuff like that. Certainly in the past, that was probably less gatekept or maybe a little flatter in terms of access. Certainly now, if you can trudge through the social slog, the social network slog, then you'll generate some level of momentum, and ideally get on people's maps over time. Like everything organic is a different rate and different, I don't know, path to growth. But yeah, I mean, if you can wait and develop the relationships to potentially get it into the eyes of a large distributor or something like that, then that's one chance. And that's, again, like very similar to music or film or, books. All of these things, they've kind of been, the industries have been kind of crystallized. They're mature industries to the point where, what works, what is financially viable in this period of time has been discovered. That's not to say that other things can't work if they build up attention and interest in an audience. It's just that the huge companies that kind of dominate these spaces, like they're not designed to take like indie level risk. They really need home runs. And like, that's not to say that your game isn't, or that any of the work that we're all doing at any given time isn't. But it needs to be able to operate on all of the levels that those companies are operating on in terms of like merchandise and like market penetration and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Michael. I have a few friends who are indie game developers. There's a game called Koi. It's about fish in a koi pond. It's a gorgeous design. It plays lovely. Like, it's delightful to play. My friend Bill developed it, and he got it out the door before the pandemic. It was like there was an indie gaming renaissance because of the supply chain in and out of Asia was like less disrupted, and people could really like put out a wonderful quality product on the indie level and get exposure. But ever since that happened and the supply chain was like disrupted, you don't see that as much anymore. And it's kind of like rippled through all the industries. So what you're saying is absolutely true. Even the big companies don't really want to like take a lot of risk,
What's up, Heidi? I see you hanging out. Welcome to come up. Just grab a mic. We're talking about writing in all shapes, games, film, books, music, whatever. Writing is what I'm hearing. That's the word on the street presently. Heidi's coming up. She's coming up. The discussion grows, Here she is. She's live on stage.
Hey, Michael. Hey, guys.
What's up?
Man, Timeless, Father D, Neil, Julia, Chris, Paula.
All
how y'all
doing?
Yeah, I just walked back in the door, so nice. I put it on. I can never get this to work when I'm driving around.
Welcome home.
But yeah, let me listen and catch up to see what you guys are talking about before I say anything.
Oh, good. We're just rapping. So, we're just hanging out,
Okay, that's cool. I gotta make something to eat.
What are you gonna eat? I just had some stir fry.
That actually sounds really good. I'm not going to have anything that complicated. I'm going to probably make some sandwiches. Maybe a taco-y thing. I don't know. I haven't decided.
Interesting.
Definitely going to make some sandwiches, I think. Fast
Classic.
And easy. Well, you can't really go wrong, can you?
Not if you're making it. Hopefully not.
Yeah, one would hope.
You mess up your own sandwich. That's a tragedy.
It's pretty sad. It would be pretty sad. Anyway, so I'm going to do that, and you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be here listening.
All right. Yeah. Earlier on, I was going over a bunch of the stuff that I've got in the hopper. Now that Chris is here, though, I'll revisit tomorrow. Film 3. We got Block of Horror. I don't know why I wanted to say House of Horror. Block of Horror on the program, on the Film 3 Thursday spot, and get to hear from them. I've only watched their YouTube stuff, so it'll be good to pick the brain, as it were. Other things that I've been doing for the folks that maybe came in late. Heidi's been hearing it. Neil's heard it. Chris has heard it. Fall of Tartaria audiobook coming soon, I promise. It's more than just a hollow threat. It's right around the corner. Tomorrow, also, new video. I'm going to finally put out my Gen 48 piece. Been waiting. I'm staging it out. There's a lot of hype around Gen 48. Everybody's got their videos out. I get lost in the shuffle, Neil, actually, why didn't you do Gen 48, buddy?
No, I'm here. My personal life schedule would not line up with my creativity schedule. It was just a really bad weekend for me. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, there's some really good pieces. I've seen some really good videos.
Yeah.
I think there is kind of a plateau of video making right now. And then there's people that are doing it really well. But the tools are just crazy. You can make really, really, really good looking things really, really quick.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it really good, but that's for sure though. Yeah, it's kind of emphasized, bringing it back to writing, watching a lot of these videos, kind of emphasized to me there's a lot of bad writing. And I don't know if the AI is doing the writing for people or if the people are doing it or it's a mixture of both. But that's a big area of opportunity to get better at. Because some of it is just, I don't know, bad.
Can I ask you? So you're saying bad? Is it like scripts that are bad, or like just stories that they're publishing, or is this part of a video thing, or?
Yeah, no. This was if you know, Runway platform that does text to video, and they held a 48-hour contest, so people had to use their platform for free for 48 hours and submit their piece at the end of 48 hours, and it was a contest or whatever, and they've done it in the past. So there's no doubt that the visuals look absolutely great. The platform does that very, very well on the outputs. But there's still, a big human element in terms of telling a good story, a compelling story, a funny story, whatever it may be. And we saw a lot of people make videos. And in my opinion, there's a lot of them that had really unsatisfactory stories or voiceover scripts to them as well.
Name names. Who was it? Which ones didn't you like?
No, I would never do that. No, I would never do that. And I said, with all due respect, it's just my opinion. I'm sure some people, like things that I didn't like, and I probably like things that people didn't like. So, but I'd be hard pressed that anyone would really be obtuse to the statement that story and script writing in video making, AI video making, is an area where people could improve on, including myself. I'm not good at it. I'm trying to get better at it, though.
I would generally agree, right? Like, I think with the AI video side of things, there is a very obvious focus on the technology, right? The people that have the writing chops aren't necessarily like the video technicians or the SFX specialists, right? To have all of that married together and to be able to really execute it within 48 hours is incredible. There definitely are some people that just excel at their knowledge of filmmaking and script writing and marrying those two things together, for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that excel at using these tools to make very great and impactful and powerful images. I don't think those people may not have the skill set to make great, impactful, and powerful stories and scripts. So hopefully we're getting there, because I've seen some great stuff. That's for sure. Hope to see more of it.
The reason I asked is I'd love to kind of get a hold of the ones that you don't think aren't working, because like from a writing perspective, I think it's really useful to not so much to criticize someone for writing, a less than stellar story, but in order to, you can pick apart what's not working, and so you can, in order to improve for all of us. That's kind of why I asked about it. I know you want to point fingers at anybody, but I'm just kind of curious, because I'm always looking for something that isn't necessarily perfectly polished, because there you can really kind of see, you can learn from it a lot of times better than you can from something that is polished, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A good way to do it, just because I don't want to, if you just do a hashtag search of Gen 48, just all one thing, you'll have plenty of videos that pop up, and they're usually, a minute to 2 minutes long. Some of them are music videos, don't get me wrong, and that's all up to interpretation as well. But some of them, tried to do scripts and voiceovers and storytelling. You'll find plenty of them, and I think I think a lot of people are not doing, for as much post-edit work that they do on the visuals, I don't think they're doing much post work on whatever AI they choose to write them a script on.
Yeah, that's fair. Father, you got your hand up. We're just hanging out.
Yeah, so I got a Midjourney account to try to use that program to help promote the project I'm working on. And I thought a lot about the new animated one that's coming out. I think that's what you guys are talking about anyway. But where I felt it useless was you can't use the same character in any of your prompts. It just doesn't save, or it doesn't work that way. So I don't know what good that is. And if you guys have come up with that same conclusion.
Well, it's certainly something that we're dealing with right now. In fact, like Neil and I and Chris, as we're working on a video, and you kind of have to suspend a little bit of disbelief, I think, with it right now. That's not to say that other tools won't have more consistent characters, but I do agree, like Midjourney, there's another kind of like S curve up in terms of developing that particular specialty that Midjourney, they have the potential to improve there. That said, there are other tools like Flux and Stable Diffusion where if you're using some of the other interfaces and stuff like that, you can get very consistent character design. What's up, Gonzalo? We're just hanging out. If you want to come up, you can. If anybody wants to come up, you're welcome to. Just grab a mic. I feel like we heard a little bit about your project yesterday, but I don't know that I know enough about it, or maybe recap it for us a little bit. D.
Sure. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm babysitting my grandson.
That's how it goes.
It is a memoir.
That's right.
I just took pretty much the darkest chapters of my adolescent years and early 20s and kind of mixed them up into a 70,000 word memoir. So right now, what I'm struggling with the most is a beta reader group. I've tried Discord groups. I even paid someone on Fiverr, and I'm just not getting anywhere. So I'm almost completed editing the first draft, and I'm getting to the point now where I just don't know if I should just target somebody that only does like memoir, because there is a couple people that they're pretty expensive, but they only focus on like memoir
Sure.
beta reading. So I don't know if I just need to bite the bullet and cough up the money and just go that way, or there is so one of the authors that I'm friendly with holds his own beta reading group. He's had it for like 15 years or whatever, but they are like once a week, and then they all go over one chapter once a week, and that would just take me forever. So I can't commit to that. But
Sure.
If anyone's got any suggestions, I'm all ears.
So I would say, like with beta reading groups, you kind of want to develop them around the topic or the project. And it might be that while you are looking for beta readers, you're only looking for beta readers, and you're not necessarily looking for people that are dialed into like the content or the location or the subject matter, whatever the themes. It might be that like there are more specialty groups that are not affiliated with writing or beta reading in any capacity. They might just be interested in those things, and you're able to find people from those groups, whether they're on Facebook or wherever, of people that, you know, want to participate in beta reading your work. I would say you can find people that are interested in things all over the place. If you're paying for a beta reader, you know, like what are they bringing to the table besides just the capacity to read? In that sense, it might be better to go after somebody that's more in tune with like developmental editing instead, because then you're going to get a little bit of both of that if you're going to pay for it, I would say.
Gotcha.
What's up, Julianne? You came up.
Hey, yeah, with Father D, like maybe something you could do to even make it more appealing is you do like a memoir and self-help, kind of like combine the two things. So people read about your interesting story and then they say, ooh, look what's in it for me too. You know, that's just one thing I've heard. And yeah, I've been stuck on my like welcome email, redoing my welcome email sequence. I had paid someone to help me with the first 4 of the 13-part email sequence. And then I paid a little bit more to get like suggestions on that. But it's like I put all this money into it, but it's still not quite like done to, or I don't know if it's done. And it's like almost like, I don't know if I really want to spend like a huge amount more money on this. So I'm thinking, I just like hire maybe just some regular in real life people who aren't like experts, but they could just give me their opinions on it. I mean, that developing editor idea is interesting too. It's just like I already put so much money into it.
What is so you're talking about a drip campaign, right?
I don't know if that's what it's called. Like, I guess email? It's like, yeah, it's like a welcome
out. Basically, like a collection of emails. Yeah, you got a drip campaign, basically. But like, are they already signed up for your email list?
Well, this would probably. I mean, I could potentially do it to the people who separately that are already there. I haven't checked in a long time to see how much signups I already have, but this would probably just like change it to like for new sign up people, because I haven't really been like promoting my blog and writing and stuff until I want to get this done.
So there's like two sides to that in terms of like designing a drip campaign or an email campaign. Are you generating a new lead, or are you generating extended interest from the people that have already given you some data? And like, what is the conversion that you're trying to drive? And like, what is your call to action for them at the end of this chain? Is it just to read the email? The next one, is it to go to your blog and read the blog? Or is there some, point of sale that you're trying to?
I think it has, I guess, depends on the email. It has like it could have like one or three of the things you just mentioned. Well, like,
that's why I'm asking you, you want to have those very focused.
Yeah. Well, I guess I would have to go email by email. Like the first one, like, I guess sometimes you have too many chefs in the kitchen, but I guess it's good to get like ideas because the person like wrote a lot of that, and then I edited it, and then someone said, "Oh, it's all about you. It's not what's in it for me." So then I was trying to put like some more value in for the person, but then they said, "Oh, maybe you do need more about yourself." So what I decided to do was, when they sign up for the list, they get like this like productivity tips thing, and then I include in the first email to learn a little bit more about me, and then.
But what are you trying to get them to do?
In the first, well, I guess they already have the productivity email list in the first one.
Yeah, but Julianne, at the end of this sequence, what is the thing that you are trying to compel them to do?
I think it's to read on.
Okay.
I don't have it in front of me, but.
So here's the thing. Like, if the idea is like to read on, just to read the blogs, like why not post your blogs and ship them as newsletters additionally, as opposed to like having this email drip campaign that's like just teaser content. They're already interested, right? And unless you're trying to sell them something, like then you're just kind of like spamming their email to a degree. I mean, that's I would guess like how you would assume, or you would perceive that experience if it were being sent to you that way, to where there isn't like, there's not a new piece of content there, but they're still receiving like in between you're asking them to go read. Whereas like if you just staged the emails around when you had new content, then you can just ship that as a newsletter straight to them and skip out that like email sequence.
Yeah, that's another idea I had. Like if I write a new blog post, like I could like do the teaser beginning in and then read more to just go to the blog post.
Sure.
But in this sequence, I do have some affiliate links sometimes, and I am like kind of exposing them. I also go because it ends up being like a little bit of a showcase of other people throughout the email sequence, like some people in like Money, Twitter, and Web3.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, it might be a little hard to talk about it just off the cuff like this, but
well, I don't know. I mean, you've done all right with it. Like you told us what it is. That's just my thinking on it, is that like if there's not a point of sale, then the drip campaign is maybe overburdening your audience, right? Where what you really want is like those kind of like tentpole releases that are the blogs to be really when you want to be notifying them. Because otherwise, like if they're getting all of these emails that aren't necessarily telling them something new or delivering them something new, then when you do deliver something new, they might not be tuned in for that because they've had all this other stuff to where it just has become drowned out by their expectation of it being just like a promotional nugget as opposed to the like real
I think I see what you mean. Yeah, there are like call to actions and and some affiliate links too. So yeah, I just have to, I don't know, or I don't know if I'm just being a baby and just need someone to like just look it over and make sure it's okay. Because I mean, I've already.
I mean, you can hit me up if you want. I'll take a look at it.
Well, that would be cool. Because I also had that other idea, but I go back and forth about it, is to have, a Discord with people beta read. I was thinking not just some of my stuff, but other people's stuff too. And they have a chance to like directly get money or win prizes. It's just to be strategic about that. Like, because I might be doing that and I'll make a penny from it. I mean, it could be fun and like informative. And if it's like a Discord, a free Discord, and it's not an NFT project, I could just be like, oh, this worked out, this didn't. And I could stop at any time. It's not like we have to, it's just as an experiment, but I think I have to be strategic about that kind of thing. Community
building's a lot of work, you know what I mean? And they all kind of go hand in hand, developing content and developing community.
So
I think you'll find them kind of serving each other in a lot of ways.
So what I was thinking of doing it to shortcut the whole community part is just bring in a few different already established communities in there. So let's see if that works.
Maybe.
Like NFT projects and maybe some of you writing community people too. But I mean, I don't think people complain too much if they win something or.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think people are going to complain if they win something. I think that it comes down to like, what is the incentive for joining another Discord, right? I would say like,
if I really wanted to entice people to say, oh, if people join from this group, you could win, blah, blah, blah.
Well, you can speculate on all those as much as you want. I think that maybe if you reverse things and you go participate in the communities that are adjacent to what you're talking about and kind of promote and drive traffic from Discord to your work, then that's a viable avenue. Trying to create a new Discord server and then get people to go there without necessarily having incentive in place, that is maybe a little more difficult.
The thing is, I might kind of want it limited at first because if too many people, because who knows if I can't even handle like a lot of people, and I could get more of a, and I also could see like, I guess sometimes if you do less of incentive and you kind of see who your true fans are too. But I guess it could just be an experiment, and if it works, it works. Doesn't move on.
Well, it's like that meme where the two miners are digging towards the column of diamonds under the ground, and the one guy turns around right before he hits it. That's the thing about experimenting too much. Like at some point you kind of have to just like put a flag in the ground and keep kind of pushing out from there to expand the territory around the flag. And you can't just like put up these temporary flags all over the place, because then people will just begin to associate that with anything that you're doing,
Wait, what do you mean? Like, what about the flags? Like kind of.
I mean that you need to, you got to stick with stuff. You can't just like try a bunch of things all the time.
Yeah, I see what
people,
you mean.
They're going to be less likely to subscribe if they have to constantly subscribe to a new thing of yours.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. If you want to like invest in someone, like, ooh, they come up with this good idea, but then they like abandon it. They go to a new one, they abandon it.
Right.
Like that makes me uncomfortable. Like, oh, I would have like try to promote you, but you seems like you can't stay on one thing.
Right. Yeah. And that's, and it is tough. in writing, like we have all of these varied interests, or in creativity, we have all these varied interests, but sometimes you just have to like carve out a permanent place for some of this stuff, or give it its own voice where it can exist. For example, me, like early on when I started doing books, who cared? Only the people that were hanging around with me were buying the book on that first month. All of after that, there's people that stick with me through the book stuff, or they like one particular project, like they like the Columbian Exposition stuff, so they venture into that, or they came out to the premiere a couple of years ago, or they have watched the documentary online, or they've gotten merch, whatever it might be. But it's a pillar for them to know that they can expect that to keep developing or be there for them. What's up, D? You got your hand raised.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing about starting a Discord channel myself, and kind of getting the traffic over. But it's a lot of hard work. I really looked into it,
mm-hmm.
and what I came up with was a Discord channel that I'm already in. I've been in for about a year and a half, and have a good rapport with some of the moderators there. And I ran it by them if they would be okay with me having my own channel. And I let them know that it was going to be based on promoting the book, but that it was going to be entertaining. And they were all for it. They were like, yeah. So they kind of put me in the hot seat, because I was like, holy crap, I really didn't have a plan. I was expecting them to say no. So
well, that
just might be, it might be another option for you, just to hijack someone else's channel and kind of get in there. But yeah.
Yeah, that is an idea too. Especially like an NFT project, if there's like a lot of people there, because then they're happy that you're supporting that too.
Yeah, it might be better for you to be like an influencer than a dedicated entity in that sense, right? Because then it's like one more thing for you to maintain. Whereas if you're
that's another thing.
Coming and going, then you can, exist on social, and Discord becomes not a task, but a part of a collection of the role that you're playing within the community as an influencer.
Yeah. Even like it would be cool. I don't know if this would ever happen, that if someone made like a game based on my fantasy novel, but some of these NFT projects that already have games, we could always it's possible to collaborate with them, and then I don't have to do all the work. But I mean, that's maybe another far off thing. But yeah, I have been just going back and forth how to do this. At first I thought, oh, maybe what if I just did it on Twitter, didn't do Discord at all? So I don't know, maybe I'll just think about it and see what the best way is, because it would be another thing to maintain. Yeah.
Well, usually go for like an hour here. Are there any final thoughts or questions or points people had on their mind hanging out or down below in the listening section?
Okay, I have a confession.
You have a confession?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I was thinking about doing a spaces. And I was just teasing about the confessions, actually play on words. But the spaces was going to be like the confession booth. And I used to do podcasting, so I kind of understand how to reel people in, but I was going to have people call in and just do random confessions. Not sure about the legality of things yet, but in order to promote the book. So I was just wanting to see, I know it's a little skeevy, but I was going to do my best to keep it cleaned up in a sense. But anyways, see what you guys thought about that.
I think it's an alright deal as long as they're consenting to it. I think if you're recording strangers and then reproducing that without their consent, that might be a little bit hairy. But
Oh no, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, if you're doing it as a Twitter space, I mean, that's a thing that's popular. I mean, people do it. So it's, people will come up and confess things to you. Yeah. Well, any last little bits or anything from anybody? If not, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Do this every 2 weeks here on Twitter Spaces. Right now on NHK World, you can catch the September Grand Sumo Tournament. It ends on Sunday. You can catch up on all of the 15 days of episodes through today, in fact, on demand on NHK World. That's available on your browser or the Roku app. Kind of an interesting competition. Onosato, young Rikishi, is dominating. I think he was 10-0 last time I checked. So just absolutely tearing it up. Will he get the Emperor's Cup? We do not know. He's got a 2-win lead. Last I checked, I could be behind. I might need to catch back up, but that was the last I checked. 10-0. This guy's like 22, 23, 24 years old, ripping it up. If you haven't watched the top levels of Makanouchi, Grand Sumo, or Jurio, I do advise. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk before too long.